And welcome into To Your Health. You know, a lot of times we start to feel bad. We go to our doctor, and the doctor is going to treat what seems to be making you feel bad rather than finding out what can make that go away. In a lot of cases, they're finding out that there's blind spots in our medical treatment. We're not looking far enough. There's actually a book that addressed that, and Carl Schmidt's here from the Herb Shop, located on Vaughan Road right here in Montgomery. And Carl, this is an interesting book, Blind Spots.
Right, I came across this recently, and I just thought, well, that'd be a good read to understand what he's talking about. And he goes through different practices in the history of healthcare. As a naturopath, I'm not working with drugs or surgery. I'm looking at nutrition supplements where the food doesn't provide enough nutrition. And I was just interested in how people fall through the cracks. And he uses different stories. He starts out with hormone replacement therapy. Nearly 30 years ago, there was a big emphasis with women that were menopausal, postmenopausal, and the common prescription Premarin, and how the progesterone and estrogen were more dangerous than they were led to believe, and how they would lead to cancer. And in his newer research and analyzing those original documents and subsequent documents, he said it's not as scary as they were led to believe, and that there's a lot more leadway in progesterone and estrogen than they were led to believe. When we look at natural health and holistic health, I do genetic testing, and one of the areas is how the liver will process these chemicals, such as xenoestrogens, chemicals that from our environment, plastics, air fresheners, fragrances, body washes, lotions, whatever, can imitate estrogen signals. And if the liver has poor processes of clearing those signals can move on to other signals. But when we're talking about natural replacement hormones, he feels very safe in normal levels of estrogen and progesterone, particularly during menopausal symptoms. Plus, as a woman gets older in life, their bone density is always a concern, and these hormones actually play a part in how bones go through what's called osteoclasts and osteoblasts, how they recycle themselves. It's very dependent. And some of the prescriptions actually include progesterone or estrogen that are bone drugs. So in a supplement market, they're available in a transdermal cream, and then doctors have them, of course, available in prescription too for hormone replacement therapy. The next thing he talks about is the cholesterol myth, and you could probably spend an hour talking about cholesterol and how we've been kind of misinformed, and that it's been long enough that original Framingham study and looking at the evidence and statistics that were used, it was really life expectancy did not change much at all whether somebody had a very low cholesterol or had a very high cholesterol. It was other factors. The plaque that occurs that causes the blockage, like the widowmaker blockage or an aneurysm or a blockage in the brain, is a combination. There can be inflammation, which one of the common blood work is C-reactive protein to look at that. And then there could be immune responses. So there could be oxidation that are microscopic basic tears in the blood vessel, and the white blood cells are trying to patch and cover this microscopic oxidation, and that's a part of a layer. And then there can be the cholesterol and calcium. So it can be multiple things that are part of the buildup. It's not just universally serum cholesterol. And cholesterol is a sterol, and sterols are the background of hormones. So when somebody takes a cholesterol medicine, they're lowering hormones, and that's why I mentioned the estrogen and progesterone first, but in men, the testosterone can't be to optimal levels if they're on a cholesterol medication. There are some exceptions, but most cholesterol medications interfere with raising total testosterone, so it can be counterproductive too. When we want to keep the arteries clear, one test is the calcium score. Many imaging places can do that for as low as $80. You can know if you've got calcification in a particular, and they give you a graph and show you which arteries. The supplement K2 can help clear the arteries. It takes higher milligrams. You may need 400 micrograms, daily for 6 months to a year to help that, along with magnesium, particularly in the magnesium lysate, glycinate, bisglycinate, malate. These are more of the amino acid chelated magnesiums that help decalcify. So between the K2 and the magnesiums, we can help decalcify. We have a chair in the store that is a pulse electromagnetic chair, and that improves microvascular circulation. I've had people do the K2 and magnesium and sit in the chair, say weekly, and that's improved the speed in which the arteries were clear. And then they retested a calcium score and saw the improvements in as little as 3 months. But there's a lot of those pieces to that can help keep those arteries clear, and we don't need to just chase a cholesterol number, we need to chase the blockage number. And then the other thing he talks about is some of the childbearing scenarios where doctors, obstetrician may be more prone to schedule a C-section, which is not in the best interest for the child or the mother. But that can be a very complicated scenario, and that's definitely up to the doctor's decision on that. But he does have a chapter in discussing that. When a child is born vaginally, they're going to go through and collect a lot of the probiotics that the mother has. And we actually have a supplement for that specific need to make sure the mother has a high level of probiotics. Studies have shown probiotic levels that the child gets in that delivery process help their IQ, help their immune system, have many benefits their entire life from that.
And that's all by design.
That's all by design.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's not just,
Yes.
yeah, surprise.
So whenever possible, the mother should definitely be planning to have a natural birth. And then eating healthy during pregnancy is very important, not gaining too much weight. Gaining more weight can make you prone to have that C-section. So eating very responsibly, not like you deserve something. You need to eat great because you're building another person in the process.
Well, basically, coming to your shop, you can get a lot of these things tested in your own body to make sure that everything's functioning properly. I want you to come back next week. We're going to talk about something you've said in every program, the liver. Okay? And we'll be right back right after this.